It had been 3 days since that night. 3 days of Taehyung not disappearing after dinner, of coffee in the mornings together, of small touches that felt almost too tender to be real. Jungkook didn't say it aloud, but every time Taehyung reached for his hand in public, a piece of the ice around his heart melted. He was beginning, just beginning, to hope. Until the doorbell rang. Jungkook, fresh from showering, opened it absent-mindedly. His breath caught. Standing there, flawless in designer clothes, was her. The ex. "Jungkook," she said smoothly, eyes flickering over him with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Still here, I see." Jungkook's throat tightened. He gripped the door, his chest burning. "What are you doing here?" Before she could answer, Taehyung appeared behind him, voice sharp as glass. "Why are you here?" Her lips curled into a smile, too sweet to be innocent. "Relax, Taehyung. I just came to talk. We never had closure. Don't you think it's unfair to leave things unsaid?" Jungkook froze. Closure. The word stabbed deep. Taehyung stepped forward, placing a protective hand on Jungkook's shoulder. His expression was cold, colder than Jungkook had seen in weeks. "There's nothing left to say," Taehyung said flatly. "I have a husband. And I intend to spend the rest of my life proving to him that I don't need anyone else." The ex tilted her head, her gaze flicking to Jungkook. "But does he believe you? After all, I've known you far longer. I know the man behind the mask. Can he say the same?" Jungkook's stomach twisted. Her words hit too close to the doubts he already carried. "Leave," Taehyung ordered, his voice low, dangerous. But before she left, she leaned in close, too close, her perfume lingering as she whispered, "You'll come back to me when you realize he'll never understand you the way I do." Then she was gone, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Jungkook stood frozen, staring at the door. His chest was tight, his hands trembling. Taehyung turned to him immediately. "Jungkook, don't listen to her." But Jungkook pulled away, his voice breaking. "Why does she still think she has a chance? Why does she believe you'll come back to her?" Taehyung's jaw clenched, his eyes burning. "Because she can't accept that she's lost. But she has. Jungkook, look at me." Jungkook's eyes brimmed with tears, his voice shaking. "Then prove it. Don't just say it in front of me. Prove it to the world. Prove it to her." Taehyung's chest tightened. His cold facet cracked, not from anger, but from the desperation in Jungkook's eyes. And for the first time, Taehyung realized, winning Jungkook back wouldn't be about grand gestures in private. It would be about destroying every last shadow of doubt. Even if it meant burning bridges he once thought he needed. The house was heavy with silence. Jungkook hadn't spoken to Taehyung all night after the ex left. He'd curled up on his side of the bed, back turned, his quiet sniffles haunting Taehyung more than any scream ever could. Taehyung barely slept. His mind replayed Jungkook's words, "Prove it to the world." By morning, his decision was made. The following evening, Taehyung brought Jungkook to a formal charity gala, an event where the elite gathered, the kind of place where appearances mattered more than air. Jungkook walked beside him stiffly, confused. "Why are we here?" Taehyung leaned down, whispering, "Because you deserve more than hidden promises. Tonight, I make it clear." Jungkook frowned, his heart pounding. He didn't trust easily, not anymore. But Taehyung's grip on his hand was firm, grounding. The ballroom was filled with cameras, reporters, investors, and among them, Jungkook spotted her. The ex. standing elegantly near the champagne table, her eyes locked on Taehyung instantly. She smiled knowingly, as if waiting for him to walk over. But Taehyung didn't. Instead, he guided Jungkook to the center of the room. The crowd quieted when Taehyung cleared his throat, his deep voice commanding attention. "I know this isn't tradition," he began, his hand tightening around Jungkook's, "but tonight, I need to speak. Not as a businessman. Not as the heir my family parades around. But as a husband." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Cameras flashed. Jungkook's eyes widened. Taehyung turned, his gaze locking with Jungkook's trembling one. "This man, Jeon Jungkook, is not my shadow. He is not a placeholder. He is my partner, my equal, and the love of my life." The room stirred with whispers, shock spreading. The ex's smile faltered. Taehyung didn't waver. His thumb brushed over Jungkook's hand as he continued, his voice breaking slightly. "I've been cold. I've been blind. I hurt him when all I wanted was to protect myself. But no more. If anyone here doubts who owns my heart, let me be clear, it belongs to him. And only him." The crowd erupted, some in applause, some in shock. Reporters scrambled, flashes blinding. But all Jungkook saw was Taehyung, standing tall and unshakable, declaring love not just in private whispers, but to the world. Tears filled his eyes. His voice trembled. "Taehyung," and before the crowd, Taehyung leaned down and him, deep, sure, unafraid. The ballroom went silent for a moment, then exploded with noise. Cameras captured every angle, but Taehyung didn't care. Only Jungkook mattered. When they finally broke apart, Taehyung whispered against his lips, "Just for him." "Does this prove it?" Jungkook's tears fell, but this time, they carried relief. His voice cracked as he whispered back, "Yes." The news spread like wildfire. By morning, every media outlet was buzzing with headlines. "Kim Taehyung publicly declares his love for husband at charity gala. Business empire rejects ex. Chooses Jeon Jungkook." Photos of their kiss flooded the internet. Some people cheered the romance, others whispered about scandal. But to Jungkook, what mattered most wasn't the headlines, it was that for once, Taehyung hadn't hidden him. Still, his heart wasn't ready to rest. The family's backlash came first. "Do you realize what you've done?" Taehyung's father's voice thundered through the phone. "You embarrassed us. You dragged private matters into the public eye." Taehyung held the phone away from his ear, calm but firm. "I told the truth. And if the truth embarrasses you, that's your problem, not mine." Taehyung's father barked. "This marriage was supposed to strengthen our image, not make a spectacle." "I don't care about the image anymore," Taehyung cut in coldly. His eyes flicked to Jungkook, who sat at the kitchen table, silently watching. "What matters is my husband. If the company can't survive me loving him openly, then maybe it's not worth surviving." The line went dead. Jungkook blinked, shocked. "You said that to your father?" Taehyung turned, walking over slowly. His voice softened as he cupped Jungkook's cheek. "I told you, I'll burn every bridge before I let you doubt where I stand again." But the ex wasn't done. That afternoon, she appeared again, this time barging into Taehyung's office. Jungkook, who had come to bring him lunch, walked in just as she slammed her hand on the desk. "You humiliated me," she hissed, her perfect mask cracked. "Do you think one dramatic speech erases everything between us?" Taehyung stood tall, his tone like ice. "There is nothing between us. Not anymore. Not ever again. She turned on Jungkook, her eyes blazing. Do you really think he'll stay? That a man like him can be tamed? You'll always live in my shadow. Jungkook flinched. The old pain pricked. But before he could crumble, Taehyung stepped forward, shielding him with his body. You're wrong, Taehyung said, his voice sharp with finality. I don't live in your shadow, and Jungkook never will either. He's the only one I'd choose, the only one I'll ever love. The ex's face twisted in fury. You'll regret this. No, Taehyung replied, pulling Jungkook's hand into his. The only regret I have is not saying it sooner. She left, slamming the door behind her. For a long moment, Jungkook stood frozen, staring at Taehyung. His husband turned to him, expression softening. Jungkook. But before he could speak, Jungkook stepped forward, his arms wrapping tightly around him. His voice cracked, muffled against Taehyung's chest. You keep saying things I never thought I'd hear from you. Taehyung held him close, pressing a kiss into his hair. Then let me keep saying them until you believe. And for the first time, Jungkook's embrace wasn't hesitant. He held on, not out of fear of losing Taehyung, but because he was finally starting to believe he could stay. The house felt different. For months, it had been filled with silence, cold walls, and unspoken words. But now, there was laughter. The sound was small, hesitant, but it echoed in the rooms like sunlight spilling through windows long kept shut. Jungkook had been humming in the kitchen all morning, moving clumsily as he tried to make pancakes. He was not a great cook. Taehyung had already learned that, but the sight of Jungkook with flour on his cheek and determination in his eyes was more than enough. Taehyung leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, a faint smile tugging at his lips. You're burning them, he drawled. Jungkook jumped, glaring over his shoulder. Don't just stand there, help me. Taehyung walked over, his large hand covering Jungkook's as he flipped the pancake properly. Their bodies brushed, warm and close. You're hopeless, Taehyung teased softly. Jungkook huffed, but his lips twitched, betraying a small smile. At least I'm trying. Taehyung's hand lingered on his. That's all I'll ever ask of you. Later, they sat on the couch together with a plate of uneven pancakes between them. Jungkook poked at one, muttering, "They're ugly." Taehyung chuckled, picking one up and taking a bite. Ugly but sweet. Like you. Jungkook's eyes widened, his cheeks flushing crimson. Did you just call me ugly? Taehyung smirked, leaning closer. I said sweet too, didn't I? Jungkook threw a pillow at him, laughing despite himself. For the first time in months, the laughter wasn't bitter or forced. It was light. Real. As the day faded into evening, they found themselves curled up together on the couch, Jungkook's head resting against Taehyung's chest. The TV played some mindless drama, but neither of them paid much attention. Jungkook traced idle circles on Taehyung's hand, his voice barely above a whisper. Do you ever regret it? Taehyung tilted his head. Regret what? Marrying me? Jungkook admitted, his throat tight. With everything that happened, with how cold you are, sometimes I wondered if you hated me. Taehyung's chest ached. He tightened his arms around Jungkook, pressing his lips to his hair. Never, he said firmly. I hated myself. I hated my fear. But you? Jungkook, you're the only thing I've ever wanted to hold on to. Jungkook's eyes stung. He buried his face against Taehyung's chest, whispering, You're really trying. Taehyung's voice softened, almost breaking. Not trying. Choosing. Every day. Choosing you, and in the warmth of that quiet evening, Jungkook let himself believe it a little more.